Hey there, Creeper. Welcome to Creepy Conversations. I'm Nikki, and you should have seen Kalai's face because she's like, I don't know how to explain it. You just got to be on video for that.
Yeah. And I'm Kalai. So, yeah. I don't know. Do people still get confused with our voices?
I just feel like for formality's sake, let's just introduce ourselves anyway.
Yes. 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 You're right. So today we're going to be covering ghost stories because we noticed that you guys love ghost stories.
Yeah.
Most of our top episodes are ghost stories.
Ghost stories. And they love it when it's fucking obvious because the ones that actually have the word ghost stories in it have the most listens. Come on, you guys. We are trying to be creative with our titles here. Explore them, please.
Yes. We literally make an effort for the titles.
But I mean, if they don't want to, that's like less work for us, and we can just be like ghost stories from Southeast Asia. Fuck it.
So yeah, as Nikki said, these are going to be ghost stories from Southeast Asia, which I love because, it's kind of like, it's something that we grew up on, and then it's like sharing it to you guys that are, I don't know, for me, Asian stories just hit different. Like Asian horror stories just are like that.
That is so true. Yeah. I feel like I also don't know if I'm biased about this, but I feel like it's scarier.
Yeah.
For some reason. True. And it's very cultural.
That is true. We're both scared of our monsters, but we also respect them at the same time.
Which is crazy. Because it's like, how even? But that's how it is. So it's not just us, as in both me and Kalai. It's like the general Asian population. Yeah.
That's true. And then we even offer food for them. When they mess up our things, we're like, oh, let's leave food for them so that they're not gonna mess up our things.
I love the over explanation again.
Yeah, this is over explanation corner. By the way, our source for this episode is, of course, Reddit. We have our source, we got it from our Paranormal. We usually go to our No Sleep, but we're in Paranormal, baby. So, yeah.
Why are we acting this? This is what happens when you have not eaten your lunch yet, you guys.
Yeah, we're past lunchtime.
We're not fasting. No, who are we kidding? We're not fasting. Okay, I guess we should get right to it because if not, we're just gonna segue into something else. So the first story is by Deleted. That sounds weird to say, but that's her account name handle. What do you call that for Reddit?
Account name.
Yeah, that's the account name. This was posted 5 years ago. And the story goes, I went on a trip to Cambodia years ago to visit relatives back in 2002. I was always a skeptic and a non-believer in anything paranormal. To this day, this experience made me a believer. One night, my dad and I decided to stay at my cousin's house. They had a large multi-level home outside the city Phnom Penh, in a small village named Why? I need to, I can't pronounce this. Is it Svai or Sve? Svai-Rolom? Is that it?
Let's accept that. People just yell at us if it's wrong. Let us know the right thing.
I'm sorry if we're murdering this. I honestly have no idea how to say this. And in my defense, I've only literally seen this article a few minutes before we started recording. So there is zero preparation here. So anyway, that's where the home is. And the bedroom that I was staying in was upstairs and had its own bathroom. And I was excited to get cleaned up before dinner. As I was in the shower, soap in my hair, I heard someone call my name. I don't respond right away because surely they can hear that I'm occupied and showering. A second later, I heard my name again. This time, slightly louder and closer to the bathroom door. Annoyed, I turned off the water, grabbed a towel, and answered back, "Yes." When I didn't get a response, I opened the door and looked around the bedroom. The bedroom door was closed and nothing was moved. I assumed whoever it was, they must have just left. After I finished my shower, I headed downstairs to the backyard where everyone was and asked if someone was just looking for me because I just heard someone calling my name while I was in the shower. Confused, everyone said they'd all been sitting there just talking.
Fuck.
I brushed it off as maybe I was just exhausted from the day. It was a warm night and full moon out, so we enjoyed our dinner outside. That's really nice. I haven't tried that like in a while, in a really long time. Yeah. Like, have you seen the moon, the stars? Just enjoyed dinner.
Yeah.
Like in a while.
Last
like,
year. we recently, as a family, have done that.
That's nice. I should try that sometime. So the electricity turns off all throughout the village at a certain time and doesn't come back until morning. So I headed to my room when we had 15 minutes left so I could get ready for bed. I was exhausted and quickly fell asleep. In the middle of the night, I wake up and found that I couldn't breathe. I could move, but I couldn't breathe.
Oh, shit.
I was choking for what seemed like a few seconds. This sounds like COVID. Honestly, when I had COVID, like at random times in the night, I would just wake up because I thought I lacked air for some reason. But this is 2002. What the fuck is COVID even? So this is like scary. Once I was able to breathe again and calm down, I fell back asleep only to suddenly wake up choking again.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. This time seemed slightly longer than the last. I panicked and sat in bed trying to grasp for air. When my breath finally came back, I stood up and walked around the room, wondering what was going on with me. I never had an episode like this. I'm young and in excellent health. What could it be? After about 30 minutes, I was starting to feel sleepy again and laid down. Once again, I woke up and it's happening again. I'm grasping for air.
Shit.
I sit up in bed and still I can't breathe. I quickly sprung out of bed and I'm still choking. My breath still hasn't come back. And just as I thought I was going to pass out, I was able to breathe again.
This sounds like sleep apnea or something.
It does. But like, even while you're awake?
Yeah.
Do you even like wake up when you have sleep apnea? Or do you just like, I cannot breathe, so I'll just like die in my sleep or something? Sorry, that's morbid.
I don't know. Usually you can wake up. That's why, they choke. Why are we even talking about sleep apnea? I brought it up. I'm sorry. Yeah, they choke for air usually.
I love how we just went scientific immediately, as if we're not reading something paranormal here.
Yeah.
The moonlight was bright and came in through the window. As I was standing there catching my breath, I thought I saw a shadow quickly move across the wall in front of me. I sat in bed for the first time in a long time. I say a prayer, and when I started to feel calmer, I went back to sleep. Can you even sleep?
No.
When something like that happens?
I would not sleep. I would be on my phone for the rest of the night.
I feel like I would not even move because I have this thing where if I feel like someone else is in the room with me, I pretend, quote unquote, like I'm asleep, but I'm awake, but just not move.
Yeah.
But this dude went back to sleep. Okay.
Maybe he's just really tired. Or somebody was making him tired. Ooh.
But he said nothing happened for the rest of the night.
Uh-huh.
The next morning, I decided not to tell anyone about what happened the night before. We had a busy day, and there was a Buddhist ceremony at the house and a blessing. I was meeting with friends of family and other relatives. Towards the end of the day, I was talking to my older cousin who is from US, and she tells me that the monks are there blessing the house because there might be some restless spirits. Shit. She went on giving me an example of the room I'm staying.
Wow.
And that belongs to my other cousin. And he refuses to stay in that room because he always hears someone calling his name and pulling his leg at night.
Jesus.
That was the last night I stayed in that house. Like, okay, no one bothered to tell him that.
They were aware, but they were like, let's test if this is going to happen to him too.
To be fair, I was kind of like that with my room. You know how I have like things happening in my room. I never told but in my defense, it was because I felt like people were going to think, dude, you're just a fucking scaredy cat. But like for this though, I feel like because it's a cousin, I'd probably be like, dude, you know what? I don't like staying in that room, but if you're cool with it, then go for it. But this is actually what happened to me there.
Yeah, or
but
maybe
they just let him, you know.
Yeah, maybe they were like used to their, I don't know, their sleeping areas that it never occurred to them to tell him in advance that there's some shit going down in that room. So they were like, oh yeah, I remember. But
I don't think I would forget though, because like he specifically said the cousin does not want to be in that room. So it must be something so traumatic for him. I feel like I said that word weird.
We're at this again.
Yeah, I feel like I would suddenly remember if someone who was coming to visit me and then they let him stay in a room where I don't want to be around in would trigger a memory and be like, oh, you know what? I've had this experience in that room. So if like shit happens to you, don't be surprised.
Yeah.
Would you stay there if you found, like
I don't know. I'd be like, we'll see. We'll see. I'd probably stay there if I have somebody else staying there with me.
Right. Like at least have a roomie or something.
Yeah. Because it kind of happened here, like in my auntie's room, like in my auntie's house where I live near.
Right.
At, like before, my uncle's nephews used to live there, and then they had an experience like that. Like somebody pulled their leg when they were sleeping, and then people still sleep there. Nothing's happened.
Well, to be fair, when I'm home, I still sleep in my room.
So I feel like it's that thing. Like they're like kind of not believing that story and are like, well, let's see if it happens to them. I feel like
I love that. Yeah, I get it.
As an Asian, I feel like that's what happened.
We are so weird, you know? It's like
there's always a sense of distrust. We're always like, we need a second experience.
Opinion.
Somebody, a second opinion on the ghosts.
And the fact that this guy said that he actually saw the shadow thing move at night, you know? So it's like, that's kind of sus.
They were just testing him.
You passed the
Congrats.
Oh my God. Yeah, you too. That was the initiation. Welcome to the family.
You're now okay.
Oh, geez. So do you have something for us? I think that was like the end of the first. Oh. Sorry. for the continuation. No, that was it. But he just said like he didn't stay there. That was like the last night he stayed in that house. It's a pretty short experience, but still creepy.
Scary. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so my story is from Rick Drizzle in the same thread. We're going to be posting the source of this whole thing. It's just one thread, and we're just reading through the stories of the people. But yeah, it goes, in Southeast Asian culture, there's a particular ghost or demon that has its head detached from its body and floats around with the intestines. Did I say that right? Intestines. Intestines. I said it like a name, like Christine. Intestines. Intestines. I knew, I was like,
Why do we do it? You see, I feel like if we're reading and our brain is just like very conscious that this is the word.
We're reading, yeah.
Say it weird.
Our brain's like, mess it up.
I feel like the brain is thinking this is not how to say it, but the mouth is like yes.
Got it. Jesus. And can you say it again?
Intestine.
I was about to say it wrong again. I was like, no. Intestine.
Don't say that. Got it. I can't even say it the way you say it.
Like Christine. Yeah.
No, because you're going to mess it up again if you keep saying it that way.
Jesus. I swear we can talk. So they have their intestines floating around and apparently glowing. If you just listen to our shorty, these are the same-ish creatures. So the creature that we shared in our shorty, the Boroka, is like basically almost the same as this one. So if you're Cambodian, you'd know it by the name of Arb or Ap. I believe in Thai, it's called Krasue or Manananggal Aswang in the Philippines. So during high school, I hung out with a group of Southeast Asians in a not so good neighborhood that had quite a few gang members. By the way, this is another thing in Southeast Asian culture. We have a lot of gangs here.
We do.
Yeah.
We
all
do.
over Southeast Asia. I don't know where that culture came from. Anyway, this area was obviously filled with lots of Cambodians that were from Cambodia and didn't have much money. So you kind of get the environment. Anyway, we were hanging out really late into the night, probably around 1 or 2 a.m. drinking and just overall shooting the shit, talking about random bullshit in the parking lot of the apartment complex. One of the guys, a real tough dude that was physically bigger than us and never afraid to throw it down against others, needed to take a piss. He went to the side of the apartments where there were no lights to pee or some shit. After a minute or so, we heard a loud yell, like, oh shit. And dude literally ran back to us with his pants still unbuttoned and unzipped, with his pants covered in urine. The look of his face was sheer terror. We asked him what the fuck happened, and he told us he saw an arb or an app floating around. Feeling uneasy about this whole thing, the other guys pulled out their guns, and we waited not even 3 minutes before heading back home.
He was not kidding about the gangster part. Pulled out their guns. I'm like sorry,
they had guns. When the older folks in the apartment complex heard about it, they mentioned that one of the residents were practicing some black magic shit. And it's likely that it was her, but no one has done anything. And they even told us not to shoot her because the cops would think that it was us that decapitated her and whatnot. No one would believe that there was a head flying around, and she ultimately died later due to unknown reasons. Maybe because she got hungry or something. Like, she couldn't find a victim, probably.
That did not process immediately in my brain that you said died later, because I heard die later, and I'm like, what are we dilating here?
Die later. Sorry, I just want to add, there's another comment or a reply below this story by Z Shudo relating to his story. So the app or the Krasue, so it's another story, but the setting is different. So I'm just gonna continue it a little bit because it's still about the same creature. So it goes, when I went to the pagodas far from the Phnom Penh city in Cambodia, the people there spoke about the app. they actually see a lot of the evil spirits. My cousin told me the app had a green orb. If you guys have heard of our previous episodes, I think it was the Vietnamese ghost story where they also experienced something the same, like a glowing orb. And it was basically the same creature, right? Like a mananagal type creature, like a floating head.
I can't remember.
I think I was the one who read the story. But yeah. So yeah, the green there it has a green orb where the intestines were at. They go around eating dirty things. If caught, they can answer any question. This version sounds so much nicer than the dark evil version others say. When a witch or whomever practices black magic long enough, they lose a part of their soul to the demon they made a contract with using the magic. In turn, the black magic can over time rot their body because the human body isn't made to withstand all the darkness and evil energy. Especially with part of their soul gone, the body cannot sustain life much longer unless the person drinks human blood or flesh-like stuff like demons would. This is why you hear stories of witches eating children, because children's pure flesh and blood help witches stay young and heal them. So yeah, it's pretty messed up. I also had a flying head wake me before. Creepy face that seemed like a mannequin. Another head looked like a shriveled face, like shrunken heads. Its spine was still attached and dangling. I didn't sleep well those days. Like he crept that in. And I was not prepared. I don't know which one is creepier, the creepy face that looked like a mannequin or the shrunken, shriveled face with a shrunken.
Right, with the
thing dangling. I don't know which one is creepier. I feel like they're both creepy.
I am also wondering how you're able to type that, because I don't want to relive something like this.
Exactly. Well, depending, this might have happened when he was younger, so it's now like he's a little bit detached to the story because he's older now. It's not
less terrifying.
Yeah, that's true.
That does not change how scary this experience is. Yeah.
And this is a face when you're sleeping and you wake up and then there's another face right in front of your face. I cannot.
This is why I cannot sleep beside my sisters, because I don't know what's wrong with them, but they can't close their eyes fully while they're asleep. And then imagine waking up to like a sleeping person with a half, not even half. It looks like it's fucking open eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a head with like wings at the back of the head, because that's what apps are and Krasues are.
Wait, sorry. I don't think we're talking about the same thing.
What? Sorry. No. He was talking about the flying head that woke him up. One was a creepy face that looked like a mannequin, and the other one, another head looked like a shriveled face with a head.
I think we kind of like dissociated in the middle of this conversation.
You know what the right thing to do would be? Move on to another story. Because we're not in the same wavelength anymore. What were you talking about?
My sister! Because you were like, it's scary that you can see a face like in your dreams or like something like that. And then I agreed, because I would rather be like, it was faceless in my dreams rather than have an actual feature etched there. And then I proceeded to say, like, this is why I cannot sleep beside my sisters. And then suddenly you were like, yes, they have wings in their head. And I'm like, ma'am, I don't think we are talking about the same thing.
I heard you said about the thing about your sisters, but it didn't register in my brain.
So I was like, wait, are we still talking about the same shit?
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. One of your sisters are going to edit this and she's going to be so pissed. I don't mean you.
And she's the one I was referring to, too.
I'm sorry. My brain was just like, yep.
It was still stuck on the intestines. I also just realized that there's like a follow-up comment on the previous story that I told.
Oh, go.
And apparently, because you know how they call out your name, right? And apparently if you answer back your name, they will attack you.
Oh my God. You don't even own your own name.
Right? Because like sometimes, you know how like someone calls you and you're not sure and you're like, are you calling me or are you calling Nikki? You know how you say that? And when you say your name, then that's when they attack you. But if you don't say it back, then all they can ever do is do the whole choking thing, the kinky shit, basically.
Damn.
In your sleep.
That's never going to happen to me because I don't like the name that my family calls me. So I never say it back.
Yeah. Which is good.
So the ghost is probably like, hey. And I'm like, what? Stop calling
me.
Maybe.
What if like the ghost calls you by your like as Kalai and then that's how you know like no one calls me this at home or something like that.
Then I know that's a fucking ghost. I'd be like, bye.
It's like, wrong person.
You know, the thing that I would probably do is cover myself with a blanket. If I get scared, that's like the only thing I do.
Right. I would do the same thing as if the blanket can protect us. But like,
or
that
I'd
is
probably
the safest shield ever.
Yeah, I'd probably be like, huh? Are my friends here? Are they visiting me at this hour? And then like, are they surprising me for something? Like,
can you imagine? But I feel like you would know our voices.
Yeah. Oh my God, what if it's going to copy your voices? See, I'm scaring myself now. Let's move on to the next story.
That would be the dumbest ghost, though, if it tries to copy my voice.
Yeah. Like, she's not even here.
But then what if also, it's like, oh, what if she surprised me?
Yeah, no. It's gonna scare me because I'm like, I know Nikki's not here, so I'm gonna fucking hide now. So it is still kind of smart because they know how to scare me.
Like just yeet out of it. We're really trying to put ourselves. I love how we're like immersing ourselves in the story. I wonder if I actually wonder if the creepers feel the same. Like when we're telling the stories, they also.
Do you guys hide under your blankets too?
No, we can pronounce intestines. Thank you.
Jesus.
So the next story is from. I really just jumped into it, right? Sorry. The next story is from. I don't know how to pronounce this. Bitius, that person.
Yeah.
And it's still also posted 5 years ago. And he or she says that this experience is not theirs, but their dad's. My dad grew up in Indonesia, and he told me about a time him and his friends were traveling to another province for work. It took a day or so to get there, and after driving their van all day, they needed to spend the night somewhere. Why? I cannot. I can see you like hiding behind your mic, giggling.
No, because I was going to ask you if it's after this.
Oh,
and I was already laughing at the thought of me asking you.
No. I will let you say your line. That's enough. Don't worry.
I'm sorry if I cut the whole story. Please continue.
See, this is why you should subscribe to Patreon, because y'all can see the hand gestures and like have a little bit more context on what is going on.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure we sound fucking crazy on audio. Like, what the fuck are they on about? Anyway, they were driving for work and they stopped at some sort of local inn and asked how much it was for a night. The owner said it was much cheaper that day of the week and asked them if they were sure they wanted to stay there that night. This was because previous guests had said that on that day of the week, they would hear banging on the doors and loud footsteps walking towards the bed they were sleeping in. My dad and his friend didn't believe in ghosts or anything, so they decided to stay that night because it was cheap and better than spending the night in the van. I'm pretty sure there are probably other cheaper places. They just didn't look enough.
Maybe they were tired.
I love how we blame everything from tiredness. It's like he fell asleep even though it was scary. Maybe they were tired. They went for the cheap inn. Even though there's like scary ghost stories from there, maybe they were tired.
Hey, you make weird decisions when you're tired.
That is true. We have made very, very questionable decisions when we were tired.
We have.
I'm surprised we're still alive after that. And not even exaggerating this.
Yeah, that's true.
So as they started to go to sleep and it was all quiet for a couple of hours until they heard banging on the door, which woke them up. My dad and his friend immediately thought the staff were playing around, so they checked the door and no one was there. Why would the staff be playing? That's so weird. They were spooked, but tried to go back to sleep. After about 20 minutes or so, they heard the door handle rattle, and then the locked door opened.
Fuck.
Both of them froze and hid their faces under the sheets.
Oh, see?
See?
You're not alone.
It's not even the dads do it.
It's a daddy thing.
The way you said that, though. Then they heard heavy footsteps like someone was wearing boots walking closer to the bed. Neither of them wanted to look, but my dad decided to rip the sheets off to see what it was. Would you?
I would think that I'm being robbed. So I'd probably show my face and be like, yo, somebody's in this room, like fucking rob another room.
Really? I feel like that's how you die.
I mean,
that's how you like get shot or something. But yeah, I get what you mean. But would that, knowing us, well, actually, I'm confused. I think it depends on what my mindset is on that certain day. Because sometimes I'd think that, and then other times I'd be like, oh my fucking God, I don't want to see ghosts.
Yeah, but they were warned prior. Like if I was warned that there's some creepy shit going on, then I would stay under the sheets rather than
I'm trying to picture this happening to both of us. Like we were out on a trip and we'd end up in a place like this.
Honestly, we wouldn't even notice, because when we sleep,
we're like fucking dead.
Yeah, we're dead. So yeah,
unless you turn the lights on, because that's it for me.
Yeah,
like you can make a lot of noise.
Me too.
But you turn the lights on, that's it. He told me when he ripped the sheets off and glanced at what was there, he saw a figure of a man, maybe in his early 40s, wearing extremely dirty clothes and boots. The man's face was extremely pale, and he just stared at my dad. Actually, to me, it doesn't sound like a creepy, like, ghost thing, but maybe because it's in English, that's why.
I feel like it depends. If a man stares at me, I'd be like, fuck, I'm dying.
So yeah, picture that. Early 40s, extremely dirty clothes and boots, and extremely pale face.
That's scary. Any scenario where there's a man in his 40s in my room, that's terrifying.
That's just wrong. Yeah. My dad tried to scream, but he couldn't. And eventually his friend had a look at the figure and they both were speechless. All they could do was cover their faces in the sheets again. When they did that, they heard the door slam, but no footsteps. That's so strange. After a couple of minutes, they checked to see if it was still there, and it was gone. They immediately grabbed their backpacks and left the place and kept driving. After that incident, my dad is a very strong believer of ghosts. Since then, he had a couple more experiences, which I can ask him about if anyone wants to read more. Okay. That was wild and at the same time a little bit underwhelming for me. What did you think?
I got scared because I'm like, what was it? Was it somebody who was trying to kill them or rape them, but then saw that there were two of them and then decided to leave? Or was it a ghost? Like, either way, to me, it's scary. Like,
I was confused, and I feel like the ghost was also confused.
Yeah. The ghost was probably like, huh?
It's like, wait, what am I doing? What if the ghost is kind of like us, where like, oh, I'm trying to do something here. And then when he got inside the room, it's like, what the fuck am I doing here? I'm like, you know what? Let me backtrack and like retrace my steps. That's why he went out of the room.
Yeah, I was like, this is embarrassing. This two dudes saw me.
Can you imagine just like the eye contact and just like staring at each other? And the dad and his coworker was like, I'm fucking scared, so I'm gonna hide back in the sheets. And the ghost was like, this is my chance to leave because that was fucking embarrassing.
He probably he needed to kill them or something, but he forgot. He was like, what was I supposed to do? And then
maybe he was surprised because he was probably used to people not seeing him. But then the dad was like,
oh shit,
let me look.
He was like, shit, he's looking right at me and I'm dirty right now. I'm not prepared for this.
This isn't a meet and greet. I'm sorry.
I don't want people to see me dirty. That's why I kill them right away.
Right.
The dad was like, and let me look at you.
I'm sorry. I hate how I made this into like a funny thing instead of it being creepy. I feel like the creeper. I know, right? But I feel like the creepers are here to be spooked. But then it's like, nah. Let me ruin that for you. Yeah. I was like, nah, dude, nah.
Should I start my story? Yeah. I feel like
I was hoping
we're gonna make it worse.
I was hoping that you would just like jump right into it, like how I did it, and just like cut in and say, oh yeah, by the way, I'm starting.
I'll do that now. This is my mom's story when she was a teenager in Malaysia during the 60s. She was the oldest girl in the family with 3 older brothers and 5 younger sisters. All the brothers, my uncles, were not there at night. She doesn't remember where they went. It was during season and a school holiday, so my grandfather took them back home to my great-grandfather's house in the Malacca countryside. To our listeners that don't know what durian is, it's a fruit.
It's a fucking fruit that is, I am so sorry, it's nasty. You can't tell me otherwise.
Stinks. It tastes like armpits.
The texture is so gross. It's nasty.
I mean, I've never eaten, actually. I've seen how it looks like.
That is exactly why I do not put that shit in my mouth.
It looks gross. Smells gross, too. Yeah. His grandfather took them back to their great-grandfather's house in the Malacca countryside. His house is located on a hillside surrounded by forest. And it is, by the way, this is like a very common thing also in Asia, like in our provinces. It's very common to have a house near the forests. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, me too. It is the only house up on that hill. Our nearest neighbor is about half a mile down the road. So she, the mom, and her younger siblings, along with their cousins, were looking for fresh, ripe durians that have fallen from the tree at night in their grandfather's orchard down the hill. They don't have enough flashlights, so they tie up a bunch of dry coconut leaves together to make a huge torch. This is also like a Filipino thing. This is a Southeast Asian thing. Yeah. So there is around 15 durian trees, but the oldest and the biggest tree is about 200 meters, 650 feet for those that use feet, down from the house. It has a long and large horizontal branch that is hanging about 6 feet from the ground. I feel like this is just in the Philippines. I know this is in Malaysia, but the way it's described, I've seen these places. Very familiar. The orchard were surrounded by a nipa palm, tall forest trees, and huge bamboo forest. This is literally, it sounds like it's in the Philippines.
Right? I love how we share so much culture and we don't even know it.
Yeah. So it is quite dark time during what? It is during dark. Quite dark during daytime. Much worse at night. During full moon, the huge tree canopy only lets some of the moonlight passes through to shine on the ground, creating quite an eerie atmosphere, especially when there's a fog. Anyway, they started searching for fallen fruits after lighting their huge torch. Their fire was quite big that it illuminates a large area around them. Her sisters and cousins, being kids, understandably excited about the prospect of finding fresh durians at night, they were all giggling and running around, chasing each other while searching for durians. They have found a few fresh durians, but decided to search for more further down the orchard towards the big tree with the horizontal branch. My mother was standing right under that horizontal branch, her left hand holding the huge fiery torch, her right hand holding a couple of durians. None of them are looking up. They kept looking on the ground, searching. She was holding the torch high above her head, right next to the horizontal branch when it happens. Do you know the sound you make when you're trying to blow out a fire on a lighted match or a candle in one strong and quick blow? That is exactly the sound they hear from above the horizontal branch on that tree.
I don't like that.
When the torch with a huge fire was suddenly extinguished. No human can extinguish a large fire like that in one blow. There was no chance that was caused by a strong wind either, since the orchard was surrounded by thick forest and there was no wind that night. Immediately when the torch went out, they all scamper uphill towards the house, dropping all the fruits they found behind. They didn't even have time to cry. The intense feeling of fear and panic overwhelmed their emotion and kicking up their adrenaline towards their little feet. They run with all their might and everyone squeezed through the kitchen door. My mother then slammed the door closed and immediately locked it. They all fell on the kitchen floor, hyperventilating, and they all started crying. The commotion surprised everyone in the house. My great-grandfather, upon learning about what happened, immediately recites some prayers and burns some incense to purify and shield the house to prevent whatever the thing on the tree from entering the house. None of them could sleep that night, and my mother told me that is the last time they went out at night searching for durians. That also why they never let us, my cousins, my siblings, and myself go out to the orchard at night or at dusk. I feel like it's also in the comments that it could be one of the beings that live in trees. In the Philippines, we have it.
Yeah.
Called the Kapre. And I feel like it is because Kapres love to smoke tobaccos.
Yeah.
So they're good at blowing shit.
I also think that they probably didn't ask permission to be there at night. Because you know how you have to let them know you're there and what your intentions are. And maybe they're
That's
just like, you
true.
know what? I'm going to go hunt for this is what, see, even the fucking fruit gets you in trouble.
That fruit is no good. But yeah, I feel like it is that.
I think so too. It could be. I mean, I also can't think of another creature that lives in a tree, but they're also known to be mischievous, like the Kapres. And I
They
know
love
this
to
is
play
in the
around.
Philippines, but like they probably have the same shit there too anyway.
Yeah, we don't know. Maybe they're thriving here because I don't know, they like Filipino meat more than they're in Malaysia. Maybe they can hide better there in Malaysia, or I don't know. You know,
What I'm thinking right now as well is why would you decide to look for durian at night?
maybe it's a common thing for them that to look for it because they've fallen. Yeah, you can do that in the morning though.
Right? I don't think there's any amount of durian craving that would make you think, you know what, now's a good time at night to go into the orchard to get more of this stinky fruit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm really bad mouthing this fruit because I do not like it.
It's gross. Trust us. Makes your mouth stink. It makes your pee stink. It makes the whole house stink while it's there. It's disgusting. So
Even
yeah.
when it's not there anymore.
Yeah, the stink stays.
I'm just hoping that we don't have creepers who love that shit. We don't want to get canceled by you guys.
Because of durians? Jesus.
See, I told you this fruit
Gets you
in trouble.
Okay. So if you guys have any stories that you want to share with us, if you think it's also a kapre, or if you're from Malaysia and you have anything like the kapre, message
I can't breathe.
message us or email it to us at creepyconvos@gmail.com, or you can message it to us on our socials, Creepy Conversations on Instagram and Creepy Convos on Twitter or Facebook.
If you want to see all of the like crazy hand signals and our facial expressions, don't forget to subscribe to us on Patreon. That's patreon.com/creepycombos. And if you enjoyed this episode and want to listen to more of our episodes, subscribe to us on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you listen to your podcast to. And thanks for creeping, you fucking creeper.
And remember, something could be watching you. Bye.